Somebody's got some good stuff.
Wait a
What
minute.
do we got
You got some good stuff?
here? Always.
All right.
I never come naked.
got a few little quick mentions to go. With that, I'll do like a couple. Take a break. You know, when you take a break, couple.
Cool.
All right.
I've never heard a mortgage guy talk so long. He's still talking, saying we can't fund until Pleasant.
What?
We're gonna be a day late.
That's
I
what
don't
we
get it.
need.
I gotta take his calls.
That's what we need. Pacific Private
Private
money.
for. And it's just a day. Just relax, dude.
Yeah.
Did you want me to talk to him? I will.
Did you bring some goodies?
Yeah. I mean, the
Yes,
market's
got
really
it.
good. Got a kind of an email question, and just basically, it's a good year so far.
And Mark, yours is I'm a real estate investor looking to purchase a home in foreclosure. The only information I have is what I can find on real estate websites like Zillow and Driving by the House. What should things I be aware of before deciding to buy the house?
Foreclosure.
Certainly selling under market, but I'm concerned I might get get in and find a ton of problems.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, don't look at Zillow because so many people call me and say, "Yeah, I want to buy foreclosure." I'm like, they don't exist anymore. Well, Zillow has so many. They don't have any.
Okay.
You know, they don't have any.
All right.
Anyway.
Are y'all ready?
You ready?
You ready there? Young Buckaroo?
Yeah, I can. How are our timing?
Okay,
times for-
we've got 7:10, 8:28, 7:40, 7:19, and 5:10. Yeah, same as that.
It's the same.
Okay, so you ready?
I think so.
Get your headset on. And you're gonna be, is that good enough for you right there?
I think so.
Okay.
Look up a little.
Let's see. For notes.
I'm always aware that you have your training session, that's why
Yeah. Well, yes, it's actually pushed to 6 today. So,
Ah,
so
okay.
I'm
I guess you're not
not
too
rushed.
pressed.
Yeah, no, we're not pressed for time. But,
Okay.
we don't need to dawdle.
Okay, here we go. Welcome, you're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms, and Patty Cohn of Pacific Union International. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 tanning certificates given away during this show. Those certificates are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon, with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And today we're also doing random trivia. Let's see, a couple of quick mentions here. Alcatraz, which I don't know if you want to go with the weather's like this, but yeah, when the weather's
That
a
would be
little bit better.
interesting.
Yeah, it sure would. If you want to see legendary Alcatraz, planning ahead is a must. I know I've been there before, and you have to buy tickets way in advance. Check out AlcatrazCruises.com. They guarantee the lowest price for tickets to Alcatraz. Also want to make a quick mention for the Mountain View Hotel in Spa in beautiful Calistoga. Celebrating Napa Valley's Cabernet season with a special getaway experience. They have all kinds of great specials going on. Use the promo code CS-T. Check them out at mountviewhotel.com. All right, Mark, what do you got for us?
Well, we got a bunch of goodies today to talk about. It's going to be a real estate show because we've got Patty Cohn here from Pacific Union, right?
Yeah, Pacific Union.
And of course, I'm Mark Hahn from Pacific Private Money. We're real estate lenders. And we're going to talk a little about real estate today, but listeners to this show will recall that I tend to follow, among other blogs and indexes, the monthly Case-Shiller report that comes out. And what's really interesting now is that now it's a lagging indicator, so the numbers I'm going to share with you are from November. So it's about 60 to 90 days behind in the times, but it's been for the San Francisco Bay Area for several years up until about the beginning of 2016. The year-over-year appreciation rate, according to Case-Shiller, which is one of the most widely followed indexes that tracks major metropolitan areas throughout the United States, but the San Francisco Bay Area has been double-digit appreciation. I mean, we all know that, right? And this particular index has been showing that. Well, sometime in the beginning of 2016, I would say, well, actually, January 2016, a year ago, was 10.5% still year over year, still in the top,
Wow.
like the top 3 or 4 metropolitan markets. But then an interesting things started to happen in February, March, April, May. It started to tick downward. The most recent release for November of 2016 was year over year appreciation in the San Francisco Bay Area at 5.3%. That's the lowest it's been in like 4 years.
Wow. And is it true that Vallejo is like number one?
Yeah, Vallejo's hot. And part of, I mean, if we just took the tight counties here with the high prices, the year-over-year appreciation is even less because somewhere around the middle of 2015, the market started shifting in the upper end, like
Yeah.
over 3 million, over 4 million.
Slow it down, didn't it?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take the 9 counties in the Bay Area, those numbers are kind of misleading because they're lower priced and you're still going to see those numbers, but it has changed already.
And what I like it's how healthy that number is, because actually that's now equal to the nationwide
The 5%.
year over year appreciation. Yeah, in fact, the nationwide was 5.5, San Francisco Bay Area 5.3. And Patty, you're right. I mean, you have to. It's even hard just to look at the San Francisco Bay Area and say, oh well, year over year it was a 5% appreciation rate. Isn't that great? Well, it depends on what little mini markets, what's San Francisco versus the East Bay versus the North Bay and South Bay, and then you have to look at, is it the lower price homes around the $500,000 range, or the middle price between 500 and million, or even 502 million for middle price, and then above that. So each of those marketplaces behave a little bit differently, and I know, Patty, you tend to represent the higher end of the marketplace, right? In Marin County and around the area, those have seen even price softening.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and even what I was just reading a study about, even with those numbers, out of the United States, the hottest areas right now, 9 of them out of the top 20 are in California. The hottest being San Jose.
Huh.
Santa Rosa is up there 9, 10. San Francisco is 9. So we're still the strongest in the country.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine things are shifting. And it's like as high as it peaked before, like in Florida or Palm Desert or Arizona, Vegas.
Yeah.
All those were the ones that were hit the hardest.
Yeah.
And they spiked up and spiked down, and that's all over now. But now most of them are all back, and they peaked as much. So we're just heading into what I'd like to call a normal market.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think your point is well taken, is if you're buying, fixing, and flipping real estate, or if you're investing in real estate, whether it's single family or multifamily, you need to really look at the areas. The like you mentioned, Santa Rosa is hot, Vallejo is hot. There are parts of Oakland and Berkeley that are still on fire, yet other neighborhoods throughout the Bay Area are not. And we make loans at Pacific Private Money to a lot of real estate investors and flippers, and some are sitting on properties wondering why they can't sell them, and others are flying off the shelf. So you really need to investigate very, very carefully the marketplaces if you're going to be a Bay Area real estate investor.
Right.
Right.
And just because it's a hot market, maybe it's peaked, maybe it's too late. Go somewhere else. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Okay, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break here. I want to make a mention for the Weingarten Children's Center. So what do you do if your child cannot hear or speak? Where do you go? Check them out. They also have this great golf tournament. I went last year, and it was awesome. And it's being held on Monday, April 17th, and you get dinner included and lunch and golf. You can get the tickets by going to listenspeaklearn.org. All right, so here is our first trivia question, and that is, what trade name comes from combining the French words for velvet and hook? That's our question, okay? Also want to make a quick review of what you have to do is call 888-912-1190, and the first caller with correct answer is going to win a free tanning certificate. Also want to make a quick mention here for the San Francisco Symphony. Beethoven's Symphony Number 7 is a part tumultuous, part mysterious, and all joy. So check them out. Go to the San Francisco Symphony for that one. All right, don't touch that dial, because the best of investing is going to be right back.
Velcro. Right? Velcro? Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Very good.
Okay, so I got to check the thing.
The first time I heard you say what do you do if your child cannot hear us speak? I thought you were telling a joke. I'm like,
Oh.
so long.
All right, and what's the punchline?
The way you talk is so upbeat. It's like, what do you do if your child can't hear us speak? And I'm like, I'm not sure.
So, Mark, you're not a golfer, right?
No.
Yeah, too bad. It was a really awesome. It's one of the most beautiful golf courses, Peninsula Golf and Country.
Wow.
Who do you know who is a golfer? Mark?
Oh, who do I know?
Yeah, someone because I got a couple extra tickets I can give away to people.
Oh gosh, I don't run in a golfing crowd, so
Oh,
I
okay.
actually don't know off the top of my
Because
head.
they sell these tickets
Clients
for
and
$350
clients
a
maybe.
piece.
Oh, I'm sure I have clients who play golf. I just couldn't tell
It's
you.
not the top of your mind when you think
Yeah,
of that.
no. Wish I know. My head's so full of junk right now.
Just making these quick little.
Wow, market, it's so good.
So I'll lead off just to kind of wrap up just a couple of thoughts on that 5% number appreciation. And then how do you want to jump into talking a little bit about the market? Because of course
Sure.
I'm hearing some pretty cool things too.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Patty Cohen. First trivia question, which Patty off the air got. What trade name comes from combining the French words for velvet and hook?
Velcro.
Velcro. That is correct. And Mark, just before we start, I want to make a quick little note. Don't forget to check out Beach Blanket Babylon.
Oh, that's so fun.
It is fun, especially when they do the Donald Trump thing with all the big hair. You feel like you're watching the B-52s. Remember that?
Yes.
All right,
That's right, the redhead.
That's right.
Well, we were talking last segment about how the Case-Shiller home price appreciation index is indicating in the San Francisco Bay Area that we're really entering into a more of a normal appreciating market, indicating about a 5% year-over-year appreciation according to Case-Shiller, which again is a lagging indicator. So it'll be interesting to see how that trend continues. But really, that's still, even in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's a blend of a lot of neighborhoods, some of which are higher than that, and some of which are lower than that in terms of year-over-year appreciation. But Patty, you've got your finger on the pulse of what's happening now that we're kind of entering, it used to be called the spring market, but it's really now it's just after the first of the year, even before the Super Bowl, because then it was like, well, after the Super Bowl, that's when you should really start thinking about putting your home on the market. Well, it's already been heating up. It's already kind of
Well, yeah,
hot out there.
I think a big reason, if you list it, it will sell. So buyers are always out before sellers. I've been saying for 20 years the best time is right now. It's better than ever because we had a very depressed second half of the year because of election distractions and uncertainties about how things will go. So hence some pent-up demand. And with all this rain, we have sellers not coming on the market. So buyers are extremely hungry for whatever. I mean, I sold 6 houses in January, and some of
Isn't
it
that amazing?
yeah, some of it is just simply putting the word out discreetly that blah 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 is coming on the market, and I'm getting people wanting to write offers sight unseen. That happened once, and I said no, you have to see it. But anyway, so that's and then what also happens is there's a certainty that interest rates are going to go up. So what actually happens with that is it fuels the market because you want to get in the game. Unless you really are priced out, which rarely happens. You just want to get in the game. And so with the rain and no inventory and uncertainty about Trump and no action last time, you have buyers just wanting to pounce. And they've already experienced the last 3 or 4 or 5 years of how you just can't find anything. So there's this feeling like you have to have it. So we're going to have a good year.
And I've talked to a couple of agents in the East Bay, Patty, who have been telling me that there's a lot of coming soons in their offices.
That's
and
right.
that and one agent that I'm working with, because I'm actually a little bit behind trying to finish a flip that I'm invested in over in the Oakland market. And so I've been talking to one of my agents, and she's got to get it on the market. Get it on the market as quickly as you can. If you can get it on there next 2 weeks, because all these coming soons are coming out. It's going to start, it's going to be a lot, not, I wouldn't say flooding the market,
It's
but
going to
just
be. It's going to change.
if you can get your listing on the market
March
now.
1st is everybody's waiting for March 1st. Part of it's the rain. Part of it's they're waiting for some kids' winter breaks to be done. Part of it is just they think it's a better time, but anybody standing, looking pretty right now is going to get snatched up.
Well, the other thing too is and I've heard this experienced this through multiple real estate cycles, is that when interest rates start to go up, real estate buying activity actually increases.
Well,
That's
probably
what I
because
just said.
people are scared that it's going to go up even further.
Yeah.
They won't be able to afford.
Right, and
Exactly.
and even those
It fuels
that
the market.
you know, if you've ever heard Bruce Norris, who's a pretty sharp guy on real estate market trends in California, although he's out of Southern California, but he's very right when he says if you look at the data from every real estate cycle and interest rate cycle going back 30 years, real estate buying activity really increases as interest rates go up. So
Yes.
it's people trying to catch up and get ahead of increasing rates.
Versus as it's going down, people are thinking, well, I'll just wait till it goes down even further, and then finally.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the stock market.
Yeah, people buy when
Do
it's
the
already
same.
at the high.
Exactly. Think about the psychology of putting your house on the market. Oh, I think I'd rather compete with everybody else in the spring. Put it on now. You know, it's human nature.
So we've got good news about Bay Area real estate. I've got some good news for some national news. This is from Bloomberg, and the title of the article is "Here Comes the Economic Growth That the Confidence Data Has Been Predicting." And so it turns out that businesses and consumers have reason to be confident that economic growth is about to pick up. But it's not because of Donald Trump's policy prescriptions. You'll recall that just 2 weeks into the president's term, the world's largest economy is already churning out a raft of signals that growth is poised to accelerate. And this is according to a leading Bloomberg article. You'll recall there was a surge in optimism following the elections, but those weren't matched by the actual indicators. And there is this measurement, they call it a gap, between the soft data of surveys, which are people saying, hey, I'm really confident that things are going to get better, and the actual activity of the indicators, which were kind of depressed in the third and fourth quarter last year. But this particular report highlighted 4 signs that the road is already rising to meet the lofty expectations held by businesses and households with respect to the economy actually improving in 2017. And here are the 4 signals. And a lot of this stuff is kind of, egghead data that economists follow. But, again, it's the economists that you want to listen to, not necessarily consumer sentiment. And the 4 are a pickup in housing construction activity is poised to buoy the U.S. expansion in the coming months, given the extent to which starts are trailing permits. So there's this measurement where they look at actual permits issued versus housing starts. And there's been way more permits issued than actual housing starts that have begun, which means to say that housing construction activity is poised to pick up in 2017. And the other one is second gauge is temporary employment, which can be seen as a leading indicator, has bounced back strongly. A third one, capital expenditures derived from spending intentions point to an increase in business investment through the first half of 2017. Last but not least, the last egghead little thing they follow here, increasing demand for durable goods points to GDP growth in Q1 and points to job growth later in the year. So again, we're not just necessarily high on the election and high on Trump's promises for things like tax cuts and capital expenditures, but it actually looks like there's data out there to support that the economy actually is heading in the right direction in 2017, as opposed to those who wonder if after 7 years of post-recession, are we heading to another recession? Well, the numbers would indicate no, we are not.
That's great,
Very
because
good.
there is a lot of talk like that. Yeah.
All right, cut to our next commercial break. I want to make a quick mention here also for the Grape Leaf Inn, which is located in Healdsburg. A gracious hospitality, country inn with meticulous service, fine cuisine, luxury of jacuzzi tubs, fireplaces, and you check out their going unwind in their speakeasy, a Prohibition-era underground bar.
Fun.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Call 707-395-0929 or visit them at www.grapeleafinn.com. Next trivia question is, in what sport would someone win the Federation Cup? The first caller with the correct answer wins a free Tambella certificate, 888-912-1190. Don't touch that dial. The best of investing is going to be right back.
That'd be the Klingon Olympics.
You should answer that.
Or rugby or something.
Okay.
I'm really lightheaded today. I apologize if I'm.
No, you're doing fine.
I'm really struggling to keep my mental kind of train of thought going forward. I never get lightheaded, so it's really kind of freaking me out a little bit. I don't know what it's all about, but
Could be the weather, maybe.
maybe. I mean, sometimes it's an
Barometer.
indicator of just coming down with something.
Yeah.
So many people I've talked to have colds and
Yep.
flus, and
Yeah,
a couple of people have had colds turned into pneumonias. Miracle
Oh,
was
wow.
sick,
it's bad this year.
but
Yeah, I had the flu thing for a couple of days. I just stayed in bed and
Me
it
too.
worked pretty well.
It only lasts 2 days, but I've never been so sick.
Oh, really? I've been sicker, but this one I just kind of, I got to take it easy, and I had to fly down to see the kids too. So it's
Oh,
like
wow.
I just was getting over it.
yeah.
Are they both down there?
Yeah.
And is it the same school?
Well, Christian
Oh,
graduated.
she
from Chapman.
graduated. Okay.
He graduated from Chapman, and she's there now.
And he's decided to stay down.
Yeah, because he got a great job.
Oh, nice.
So that's all I had that I brought with me, other than I can
We'll do
always
some
talk about
emails?
other
Yeah, we'll do
stuff.
email,
Yeah, let's
yeah.
do the email time. So we've
Okay.
got segment 1 and 2. We've got
Yeah,
2.5 more.
Yeah, this is 740 on this one.
And mine is a little bit, that question could get a little complicated, so, yeah, it's
Okay.
more than just a quick answer.
Yeah,
Good.
which is good.
Take your
Here
time.
we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Patty Cohen. Second trivia question: in what sport would someone win the Federation Cup? Mark.
Well, that sounds a little bit like Star Trek. Would that be the Klingon Olympics or
No, but that's a very good guess.
Federation?
Rugby.
Women's tennis.
Oh,
That's what they
interesting.
call it. Okay, Patty, we got an email for you. It says, we've owned our house for 37 years and updated it many times, including adding a room addition. We did not get permits for anything. How will this affect when I sell?
Oops.
Wow, really big question, really important question. Just the permit question in general is, one thing that's very, very common is people just don't say they get permits, but then inspections come out and disclosures come out and they don't have a permit. That is easy fix. It's just simply, we discover that the contractor didn't final the permit. And it's usually because they paid them in full and they just take off. So a water heater doesn't get finalized. A lot of people don't even know you need a water heater. Permit for water
for
heater.
that, yeah. If I put a thumbtack in and put up a picture, do I need a permit for that? Too?
Exactly, right? Exactly.
It's
A permit to
getting to be like
sneeze.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's easily rectified. Just get it finalized. But so then you get back to the permit issue. Like, what is it? So in this case, it's a room addition. So let's start with, is it up to code?
Okay.
Like if it's not up to code, you're going to be in trouble. But if it's up to code, today's standards, I don't know how long ago they did it. They had it for 37 years. It sounds like they did a lot over the years, but kind of maybe in the last 5 years, the room addition.
But what about stuff like encroachments or variances
Oh,
or setbacks
bad.
and all that stuff?
Bad. So what I would first do is have a contractor come out and just discover whether it's up to code, today's standards. If so, go down to the city and get a retroactive permit if you can do it. And usually the fine for that is double the permit fee. So, they just should have done it from the beginning.
It's not a whole lot of money, but still a little bit.
That's
Yeah.
not that bad. I mean,
That's easy.
yeah.
That's the easy fix.
Easier than tearing it out.
Or
Yeah.
what
And
if you put
cheaper.
the room on, put it on wheels?
Yeah,
And then
right.
And you say it's we can move it around anywhere we want.
Well, that's what we do on the resale inspections. We have the second unit. Well, it's not a second unit if we take the stove out. So literally on the day the inspector comes, they take the stove out and then they put it back in when they leave.
And what is that? If it's not an in-law unit. at that
Well,
point, what is it? Just a room?
It's a room
bonus
somebody's
room?
living in, but it's going to be a bonus room. You can have a sink, you can have a wet bar,
Okay.
you can have a little mini refrigerator, you can have a big refrigerator. But
Can't put
a
a
stove
stove.
makes it
Just put some
kitchen.
firewood on the floor.
well,
Right,
they
right.
do. They just put a counter over the stove. Sometimes it's just a cooktop.
No, I'm talking about a real fire.
Oh.
Just put a bunch of logs there, and there you go. There's
Or
your
call
stove.
Tony the torch and blow the whole thing up. You don't have a problem.
Patty, is this a county by? Is it different county by county? And the reason I ask is we've made a lot of loans to flippers in Alameda County, and I can't tell you how many of them will just like randomly convert, and they'll be done with the rehab. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to do one more thing, and they'll convert the garage. Maybe it's a freestanding garage to a studio. Maybe put a bathroom in there. They're doing this without permits. And
A lot of
still
people
selling
do.
them.
A lot of people do. So then, so the first line of defense is just check if it was a filing issue. If not, check and see if you're up to code, and then you can maybe go to the city and you can get yourself complete. And a lot of sellers say, it's not worth it. I'm telling you it's worth it, because the next step is you sell your house with that. And of course you disclose,
Right.
always disclose. But at the same time, and insurance, for example, is not going to insure that part of the house. If the house burned down, that addition would not be covered because you didn't get permits for it. And then there's the next thing. The appraiser comes, and the buyer's getting a loan, and that addition is maybe worth $100,000. Well, are we going to count that in the appraisal or not?
Yeah.
And then there's of course the buyer pool. Some buyers are fine with it. Okay, didn't get a permit, we'll move forward, and that's the way it's always been with that house. But some buyers will just walk away and not buy it, or they'll say, I'm going to deduct what that value of that is. And it sounds like these people had it for 37 years and just upgraded here and there, and then the major addition. Well, what were those upgrades?
Well, if you're a buyer, I mean, I would think the typical thing would be get it approved and permitted, and then I'll be able to finish off my purchase, right?
Well, there goes the sale, perhaps. It depends. If it's a strong buyer's market, they just take it and they just buy it and they inherit the problem. But I mean, my advice to people is just get permits. It's just worth getting permits.
But how do you know if you need a permit?
Well, see, that's a great question, because a lot of times the water heater is the most common where people don't realize they need a permit.
Well,
But ask a contractor, ask the city, and you can ask cities a lot of questions anonymous.
do I need a permit?
Anonymously.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Changing my light bulb? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe.
And cities don't pry. They don't ask your name. You can be unanimous. Anonymous.
Anonymous.
We're unanimously anonymous.
Yes, exactly. So you just want to know what you're in for. But, and sometimes you can't get a permit because it's not legal what you're doing. So, some people a lot of people choose, this is the Bay Area, they choose to do it anyway. But it's just disclose.
So
Well, the good news is a lot of counties have been giving a little leeway on these second units now, and so they've been, housing shortages and rising rents have given rise to more and more cities and counties approving now second units.
Well, yeah, it's more than just lenient. It's basically every city has a expectation of or a requirement for so many units,
Affordable
and
housing.
in order to get funding.
Well, they also talk about non-conforming, non-legal second units.
Yeah, legal non-conforming and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's what all these people that have converted their garages or whatever, they can now go down to the city and legalize them because the cities don't have enough affordable housing units. So and that backs right into getting government funding.
Just no nuclear power plants.
Yeah, that's right.
I can tell you now, you won't get a permit for that one.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. You know what? Yours is going to take a little bit more time.
My question?
Yeah, because
All right.
we only have one more minute. So let's finish up what we're talking here. We'll do our last trivia question, and because Mark's question is going to be actually very interesting. It has to do with real estate websites like Zillow. So we're not going to pick on Zillow per se, but it's a question that has to do with foreclosures and those sort of things. So anyway, let's go to our next commercial break here. What is the common name for coagulated soy milk? When I say coagulated, I want to think of, what was that, Homer Simpson? He lives in
Corrugated?
something, no, he lives in coagulated something.
Quagmire.
Quagmire, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay. What is a common name for coagulated soy milk curd pressed into blocks? I know it's a kind of a funky question, but when you hear the answer, you go, oh, that's what it is. Okay. Call 888-912-1190. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Okay.
It's
What is it?
they put it in like miso soup, and it's
Oh, tofu.
Yes.
Okay,
Very
got
good.
it. Yes.
Good job. So you got it.
foodie.
Foodie.
Yeah,
Like turducken.
Turducken, yeah.
tofu's so boring. It has no taste unless you.
Well, like Whole Foods, you can get like marinated tofu.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. Even got these noodles that, like, there's no carbs in them.
Oh,
But and I think they're okay because you add a little
Carbless,
bit of-
tasteless noodles.
No, they're not that tasteless.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they're clear and they're kind of it's like even
I didn't
jelly.
expect that, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
they're
rice
really-
noodles maybe, or?
Oh well, yeah, but it's like they're really good from the standpoint of like, good
Carbs.
for you,
Yeah.
stuff. if you just eat them plain, you go, yeah, it's got no taste. But
You know, we gotta put like spaghetti sauce.
I was just gonna, well,
Yeah, get
spaghetti
pasta
squash. If you start cooking with spaghetti
yeah.
squash, it's so good. And I've cooked and I've served it, and people thought it was pasta.
there you go.
It's so good. There's no carbs. It's vegetable. It tastes so good.
We've got a long segment, so
Yeah. So we'll go on with yours because I also want to get
what else do
Got
you
some
have?
deal.
Do you have anything else you brought along, Patty, that
let's
we
see.
could talk about
Bay Area,
real
how's the
estate
market?
wise?
Well,
Or
basically,
anything wise?
yeah. I mean, I'm
Give
just
deal,
talking
yeah.
about what's going on in the market. Is always the Bay Area.
Fuzzy headed. We've actually been really slow, so I would just have to let's see.
I mean, I got a call from someone today who is looking for a second of $100,000 behind 365, a property that's worth 740. They were in escrow, and whatever reason the buyer walked away, so they're back on the market for 740. They need the second mortgage just to be able to put for the down payment on a new house.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like,
Sure.
give him a quote for, so I quoted him 11%, 3 points, and $2,500 for the processing fee. So I said, I mean, it's going to cost you like, including title insurance, it costs like $7 grand. It's like 7 points basically when you add it all
Wow.
together. So they're looking at going, but they're going to have to go to, they're going to have to live in the extended stay,
Oh,
which is going to cost $3,500 a month.
yeah,
So 2 months, that's
There
a
you
break
go.
even. So.
yeah.
If
Well,
you-
I've got my
You
book.
got one?
I've
Okay.
got one I can talk about, sure.
All right, you ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the best of investing. Who am I? I'm Edward Brown. There's Mark Hahn, and there's Patty Cohen.
Here we are.
All right.
We're back.
Can't tell the players without a scorecard. Okay. What is the common name for coagulated soy milk curd pressed into blocks? Of course, if they said it was that, no one would eat it.
Yeah,
Otherwise
right.
known as tofu.
Tofu. That is
Yum,
correct.
yum.
You guys did
Not-
really well. You got 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark. Question comes in and says, I'm a real estate investor looking to purchase a home in foreclosure. The only information I have is what I could find on some of the real estate websites like Zillow and driving by the house. What are the things I should be aware of before deciding to buy the house? And it's certainly selling under market, but I'm concerned that I might find a ton of problems once I get in.
Well, and you're exactly right to be concerned. Because what Zillow does is Zillow takes the average price per square foot that a home in a particular neighborhood sells for and applies that to pretty much every other house on that street. So when you're looking at a house to purchase a house that's in foreclosure, first of all, you don't know whether it's just simply economic stress on behalf of the homeowners or if the condition of the house, maybe it hasn't been remodeled in decades. So you really can't know that Zillow has no idea whether the house has been recently remodeled or never been remodeled. It has no idea whether there's mold or if there's a crack in the foundation or other issues that could cause a real headache and to cause you to actually lose money if you were to buy that home at the price they're asking for it. So you really don't. So is the house in fact under market? You can't know that just simply from, well, here's the price that is being asked for the house out of foreclosure or of short sale, whatever the case may be, without inspecting it. So you absolutely need to have, if you're not a contractor, you need to get your contractor or find someone who is a contractor or home inspector and go in there and you really need to kind of assess what condition the property is in, because now once you know the condition of the property, then you need to create a budget for remodeling that home in the fashion that is basically the same as the rest of the homes in the neighborhood. You want to make sure you don't over improve it. And so we make a lot of loans to people who buy fix and flip real estate. And I'll tell you, in 2012, 13, 14, we were making loans. Pretty much everyone, even the guys that weren't that good, were making money. I mean, it really wasn't. You could get homes for really good prices. The banks were aggressively selling those homes and letting them go for very low prices per square foot. But nowadays, that's not really the case. It's a lot harder today in today's market with as much appreciation as we've witnessed over the last 5 years to get homes under market, particularly if they're listed on the MLS. If they're publicly listed, the chances of you stealing a property are pretty small. So it's really If you're looking to buy, move in, and remodel it as you live there, I'll tell you right now, people who are selling properties, those are the best buyers because you can get a higher price generally for those. But if you're a contractor looking to actually purchase a property, pay the financing costs, add value, and then sell it for a profit, it's difficult. The people that I'm financing that are successfully making profits buying, fixing, and flipping property in the Bay Area today are those that are finding properties off market. They're not listed. They may not even be through a broker. They are relationships that they have made with people. Either they're door knocking or they're working through a wholesaler. The things that are still happening in the marketplace, no matter what the real estate market is doing, are the 3Ds: death, divorce, and drugs. Those provide opportunities for distressed family situations where they need to sell the home. And if you can get to that family before, say, a realtor does, and maybe you can negotiate a price with them that is below market enough so that you have enough room in there to do what you need to do and make a profit.
Well, you mentioned wholesalers. I mean, how is that different? How do the wholesalers get?
Well, that's what the wholesalers are typically people who are scouring the countryside, knocking on doors, looking for opportunities, oftentimes based on a death in the family or divorce
Gotcha.
or drugs.
They
And
read the
so
paper, somebody died, they
Yeah.
approach the
they
widow.
know someone, it's friends of friends. There's just a lot of ways that people can create value for themselves. In fact, wholesalers right now are doing fairly well. If you are a wholesaler, I'm sure you're probably the wholesalers that I know of are getting higher fees today because it's harder to find
Yeah.
homes where you can buy them for a really low price. And so where maybe 5 years ago a wholesaler could, with maybe a $5,000 fee was not was typical, or $7,500 or $10,000, now $25,000 fees and higher are oftentimes being earned by a wholesaler. So again, getting back to the original question of how do I determine whether a property in foreclosure is a good buy? Well, you're really going to need to do your homework. It's buying sight unseen nowadays doesn't make
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all. Now that being said, we're doing a flip right now with a borrower client that he purchased the property directly from Fannie Mae, who had foreclosed on this particular property, and it was not on the market. He was able to get to the representative of this particular house before it went on the market, and so he did get it below market, put about $100,000 in to remodel this home in West Oakland, and now it's on the market. And in fact, I just talked with him this week. He's got multiple offers on that. So that's a real winner. So if you again, it pays to do your homework and to look at a lot of properties, but it's tougher now. It's tougher, and people are losing money. People are breaking even or not making the kind of profits that they thought they would make in properties today.
But you as a lender, though, if just because the flipper breaks even or loses money doesn't necessarily mean that you, the lender, would lose money.
Well, I care because I don't want them giving me back the property. That's for sure. You're right about that. But from a lending standpoint, there's I don't want them to go down. I don't want to fund a project for someone who then starts the remodel process and realizes that, oops, I made a mistake. I discovered something that's going to cost me more money. I'm not going to make a profit, and then they walk away from the project. And that there are private money lenders are seeing a higher rate of foreclosure on their flipper loans today than we ever did in the past, and that is because it's just the kind of the metrics of the real estate economy now are such that you got to be really good. So we're pretty careful. We vet the borrowers very carefully, their experience, their ability to withstand a misjudgment in the budget, and of course we want to always look at marketability. So it's a little things have changed, and we'd like to think we're smarter today than we were a few years back. But again, it always pays to do your homework and make sure that you've got your budget right there.
But you guys, even when you say be smarter, you didn't lose money before.
So no, we've not lost money on any of the loans
But
we've
the
made
flippers,
today.
I think, because it's true, it's very, very hard to find these kind of properties, especially in sophisticated markets like San Francisco Peninsula, Silicon Valley, Marin. You can't find them, and then they're the homeowners are smart enough not to just give their property away to somebody. They'll
Yeah.
you put it on MLS, and you can't. Mark's right. You just can't find. You can't do it for properties on the MLS for the most part because you're competing with very emotional buyers that want to live there for the rest of their life. They don't want any profit, and they really don't care if they overpay because they're going to be there a long time, and they are sick of looking for property.
Right. I had a client come in this week and said, so I've got this house I've owned since the 70s, and it's rented to a tenant. We used to live there years ago. The tenant would like to buy it. What do you suggest I do? And I said, well, if you want to do the tenant a favor and you want to negotiate a favorable price for him, and you want to be a good guy, but that's your choice, your prerogative. But I'm going to tell you from a real estate investor point of view that if you want to make the most money, you want to list it on the market and find a buyer who is not looking to flip it, but who will buy the property as is and live there and improve it on their own. That's how you're going to sell it for the highest price.
And it's counterintuitive because you think, why, I'm going to save on commission. No, you won't.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay, stay with us. When we come back, Mark's going to give us the deal of the week. You're listening to the Best of Investing. Don't touch that dial.
Okay. I got right out of there. Slipped right out at 9:19.
So how much do we have left?
5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Right, you haven't talked about how people can get a hold of you,
that's
so
right.
let's do that
Okay.
when we first come back on.
Yeah, let's do that. You ready?
Yes.
There you go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Patty Cohn. Patty, we forgot to tell the audience how to get a hold of you if they have questions.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. It's Patty Cohn, C-O-H-N. I'm with Pacific Union, and my phone number is 415-722-4842, and you can reach me at bestmarinagent.com.
Very good. I like
That's
that.
a great URL.
Yeah, there's a
And
reason
it
for
fits,
that.
yes.
All right, so Mark, give us a deal of the week.
Well, it's interesting. My deal of the week actually has something, is similar to what we were just discussing about last segment about, being careful when you take on a project. We got a loan request in this week from a builder who is building a property in Marin, and he has a construction loan, which is private, not a private lender, but a private party provided him the money. And this builder ran out of money. He needs another $200,000, it turns out, to complete this mixed-use project that's in Marin County. Normally, we wouldn't touch something like that, but there's a number of factors that make this compelling to us as lenders. In that, first of all, it's right in our backyard because we're based in Marin County, and I'm born and raised in Marin County and have been involved in Marin County real estate for over 30 years. So I personally am intrigued by a property that is, being brand new, built in Marin. The resale prospects and marketability very, very high. So how we're looking at this is the builder's experience, which is another plus, but he happens to have yet another project, and because of the two projects, he doesn't have the financial capacity to make up that shortfall. So here's a situation where he under budgeted, right? So we haven't actually made the decision yet to do this, but the way we're looking at this would be rather than look at paying off the existing loan that's on there now and giving him a new first with additional capital and making him pay ungodly amount of fees, we're actually looking at it a little bit more creatively. We're looking at maybe doing a joint venture second with him. And this is a strategy that is still being used by a lot of lenders out there, private parties who are lending to contractors and real estate flippers, and it's where you basically become like their equity partner, like an equity joint venture. And so we're looking at doing, in commercial they call this mezzanine financing. It's usually junior financing behind an existing first, where the combination of fees are such that it's a fairly expensive loan, but it's really, you're really, bringing on a partner to save a project in the last minute. So we're looking at some points up front, an interest rate that would probably be pretty healthy for, that would reflect a junior lien position. We're thinking about 12%. What we're strategizing on and what we haven't determined yet is what would be the exit fee, the points on the back end. So if you charge points up front like a regular loan, and then there's an interest rate, which, because time is money.
Yeah.
On the back end, we're looking at maybe somewhere between 10 and 20 points on
Wow.
the amount of money lent,
And
which
is
you
this
say,
in-
wow, but that's actually quite common. This is in lieu of saying, well, we want a 50-50 profit split.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want to get involved with the number crunching. with
Yeah,
it,
but what's really an expense, is that charged against this?
And even though that might be expensive for $200,000, if he had to refinance the whole $1 million
Oh, yeah.
loan on
Very
that,
expensive.
he would actually be paying more in fees. So this way, that on the amount of money we're lending, we're getting a great yield on it.
Is this in your new fund?
No,
Or
this
is
is
this
again we haven't decided who the
Okay.
lender would be in which fund. We
Gotcha.
still have to get the valuations. We want to make sure it's not beyond a certain loan to value. But anyway, for creative financing opportunities, give us a call at Pacific Private Money. We're very creative and very holistic in our approach to making loans. PacificPrivateMoney.com, 415-883-2150.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get some calls from potential borrowers who are looking for creative financing.
Yes.
All right, here's our thoughts for the day. If Cinderella's shoe fit perfectly, why did it fall off? And starting
running.
yeah, that's true. And starting today, whatever life throws at me today, I'm ducking so it hits someone else. Okay, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good.
I'd like to hear about what he needs 200,000.